Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb has counseled that 3 Atlas is really some type of alien technology. The numbers just modified, and with them the complete tale of 3 Atlas. For months, astronomers assumed this interstellar vacationer would only skim past the Crimson Planet. Astronomers are continuing to track a newly noticed item, in all likelihood a comet, from outside our solar gadget. The interloper, named 3 Atlas, was first spotted on July 1st, a staggering but innocent flyby. However, new calculations from Harvard's Loeb team and impartial analysts inside NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory have found out something high quality. This isn't always a rock, and in that case, perhaps it's targeting the inner solar gadget. We know that the trajectory is very well aligned with the planet's. 3 Atlas's trajectory isn't just specific. It's actively tightening, and the rate is converting. And now, for the first time, the modern-day data display it may really collide with Mars. 3 Atlas is moving faster than anything humanity has ever tracked inbound from interstellar space, almost 87 kilometers relative to the Sun as of this week. In sensible phrases, it's overlaying the distance between Earth and the Moon in less than 80 minutes. Every hour it travels, gravitational tugs from the Sun, Jupiter, and Mars modify its path by micrometers, tiny modifications that grow to be large throughout tens of millions of kilometers. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter confirmed on its remaining past the item's coma. Its hazy halo has doubled in brightness since August, with peculiar high-strength spikes and ultraviolet. That's not usual cometary physics. The CO outgassing rate is far beyond what is visible in any solar gadget comet. Instead of stabilizing because it nears the Sun, 3 Atlas is acting like a guided missile, self-adjusting, accelerating, and path-correcting by releasing plumes of fuel in deliberate pulses. The new trajectory evaluation puts the nearest approach to Mars at just 1.95 million kilometers on September 26, 2025. For a planetary astronomer, that's a hair's breadth. At this distance, Mars's own gravity can exert measurable have an effect on the comet, a piece of what might have become a planet in some other star machine. And here is a terrifying twist. A trifling 10 kilometers per second of additional pace could tip the orbit enough to cause an immediate hit solely weeks later. Consider that. 3 Atlas only desires a fraction of the momentum SpaceX's Starship uses to release from Earth to change its future from flyby to collision. And those momentum changes are taking place proper now, hidden in its tail. Spectroscopy from Gemini South in Chile has revealed something no one can explain yet. In place of a regular, random venting of sublimated ices, 3 Atlas's tail emits gas and clock-like pulses once every 17 minutes, perfectly synchronized over days. Those pulses produce microaccelerations in the specific route needed to align with Mars's orbital aircraft. No natural system in comet technological know-how produces a rhythm that precise. In comets, jets erupt when daylight hits clean ice patches. But those eruptions are chaotic. They don't repeat like a metronome. Here, the pulses look engineered like attitude thrusters on a spacecraft. If the sample holds by September 19th, the comet may have imparted ample lateral thrust to close the remaining missing thousands of kilometers closer than some Mars moons. A fast-moving item the size of New York is hurtling toward our solar gadget, and it'll make its closest skip to Earth on December 17th. Comet, asteroid, or something else? A Harvard astrophysicist believes there's a strong likelihood this is a craft of alien beginning, and the consequences for humanity could be profound. It could not be a rock. It's called 3 Atlas. Give me the case for why you think this object may be extraterrestrial and may be alien-made. Well, first, its brightness implies that if it represents reflection of sunlight from a solid object, it needs to be 20 kilometers in diameter. That's larger than New York Island, and that is a large rock. The previous interstellar items were hundreds of times smaller. So, it doesn't make sense that the third object from interstellar space would be 100 times bigger than the previous two. And we haven't seen anything in between. And if you look at the trajectory of this object, indeed it's perfectly aligned with the plane of the planets around the Sun. The necessary question is, was this designed by brain power? And one important outburst could then push it into a collision trajectory. At its modern mass envisioned at 10 billion tons of heavily irradiated ice and dust, with a metallic core perhaps 400 meters across, a direct hit on Mars would release energy equal to 2 million megatons of TNT. That's hundreds of times the most important nuclear device ever examined on Earth. The ensuing crater might be 60 kilometers wide and 5 kilometers deep, throwing debris into Mars orbit and potentially injecting some into interplanetary space. And because Mars hosts dozens of active and deliberate spacecraft, from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to the Perseverance rover, an impact might not simply scar the planet, but also shatter decades of scientific investment. Communications relays, climate monitoring, and life search missions could all be crippled overnight. Inside NASA, quiet preparations are underway. Leaked memos display assignment planners already using the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter as a forward radar to photograph and track 3 Atlas's inbound vector. High-gain antennas at Goldstone have been repurposed to bounce radar off the comet's middle. The results are still classified, but one insider described them as unlike any echo we've ever recorded, challenging metal returns rather than soft ice signatures. If these leaks are accurate, 3 Atlas may not be just ice and dust at all.